It went very fast from being a small town, kid to helicopters and private jets. And man, there's nothing more intense than leading the Daytona 500 with less than 20 to go. I was fortunate enough to have relationships with some of the drivers to change how the position was done. You're a competition device, you're a cheerleader, you're a psychologist. Meanwhile, they want to punch each other in the throat, right? You guys were the start of bringing real football to the state of South Carolina and University of South Carolina. So, man, hats off for that. I wanted to be a backup dancer for like Janet Jackson. I'm one of the guys that made a dream come true.
All right, tailgaters, we got a unique guest as well as last week with JP. We like getting big time Gamecock fans, influencers, whatever you want to call them. We got a special guest. We got Brett Griffin, aka Spotter Brett. I mean, this this is a hell of a story. The guy's South Carolina through and through, ends up, going through the NASCAR circuit. And I mean, just the stories that this guy had to say about the NASCAR circuit and pretty much everything was just absolutely unbelievable. The guy he's one of us. He's one of the tailgaters, and I think you guys would really appreciate the insight that I mean, granted, I didn't know anything about NASCAR. I still don't know a whole lot about it, but this was an unbelievable episode. Learned a whole lot. Big time Gamecock fan. You guys might want to check this out. I don't know if this intro is worth the shit, but give it a listen.
Home Team Barbecue is fired up to take care of your tailgate and watch party needs this season. Home Team is known for its smoked meats, creative daily specials, and twists on Southern classic. Smoked wings, ribs, pulled pork sliders, barbecue nachos, or classic sides like mac and cheese and collard greens are the perfect feast to fuel your game day. Round up your friends and give Home Team Catering a shout at catering@hometeambarbecue.com or head to 5 Points for a frozen game changer cocktail and barbecue snacks to celebrate the next Gamecock's big win. Visit hometeambarbecue.com to check out the menu. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Steel Hand Brewing in Casey has you covered. Whether you're craving a refreshing craft beer or just a great time with friends and family, Steel Hands has it all. With a variety of craft beers, spacious outdoor beer gardens, and a delicious food menu, there's something for everyone. Plus, join them for free live music every Thursday through Sunday. Visit steelhandsbrewing.com to see their lineup of upcoming events or host your own. Handforce and Casey and voted best local brewery again this year. Go visit steelhandsbrewing.com.
All right, you carnivores, we got a new sponsor, JCQ Farms, located off 177 Saluda Bluff Road in Batesburg, South Carolina. Huge Gamecock family, folks. So they have grass-fed beef, pasture-raised pork, and they have absolutely no antibiotics, no hormones, and all of the animals are treated humanely. They also practice regenerative farming. Right now, their top sellers are tomahawk ribeyes, cowboy ribeyes, fillets, bacon, and this primal ground beef mixture. It's heart, liver, and beef mix. If you're going to get any sort of meat, get it from here, folks.
All right, welcome back, tailgaters. We got a new special guest here, Brett Griffin, as you guys know him, Spotter Brett. Welcome to the show, dude. I mean, I know we've been trying to do this for a while now, and appreciate you taking the time to get on here and shoot the shit.
Man, it's good to be here with the original Johnny Manziel. I don't think you get enough credit for being the rebel on and off the field that you deserve, man. So thanks for having me.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You haven't been around any rebels in the NASCAR world, have you?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So when I look at you, man, I look at like your generation of players and what you guys did at Carolina. I was like, man, it's a good thing we didn't go to school together because I don't think either one of us would have made it out of freshman year. You had a hard enough time by yourself.
That's for sure. Yeah, usually Pat would be on here telling everybody that, he tried his best to keep me under wraps. He was by my side a couple of those times, a couple of those nights.
Yeah, I'm sure he
Uh,
was, man. You guys, though, I will give you credit for this. I mean, I grew up in South Carolina. I'm sure we'll get to all that, but you guys were the start of bringing real football to the state of South Carolina and University of South Carolina. So, man, hats off for that.
well, I appreciate you saying that. I like to feel like we did that as well. No disrespect to the guys before us, but I was, to tell you this quick story. That was Coach Spurrier's kind of pitch to my recruiting class as well as Pat's. Were in the same class. He's like, you can go to Florida, go to Oklahoma, go to these other schools that typically have a winning tradition, or you come to South Carolina where historically we've sucked. and kind of changed the course of the program. And obviously there were some bumps in the roads, but yeah, I feel like we kind of mission accomplished it.
Yeah, no, you for sure
So,
did, man. And you got big players, and you played with a lot of guys that went to play in the NFL. So, man, we as a South Carolina alumni guy, like I appreciate that.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. When Pat reached out to me about starting this podcast, I was like, dude, this is a no-brainer, man. Get a chance to talk with, former teammates and current guys and guys like yourselves. I mean, it's kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, me and Clifford were talking. Me and Andrew Clifford were talking about a month ago. That might scare you a little bit because I know you guys were roommates and buddies. And I'm like, man, and he's like, what we need to happen is we need DeMarco and Garcia to come to Columbia and like open a bar restaurant. They'd kill it.
I mean, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I'm gonna let Pat hear that out of your mouth because I'll mention it. He's like, no chance in hell, man.
Yeah, make him pay for it. He's got plenty of money.
No kidding, no kidding. Well, shit. I mean, we've kind of had the pleasantries. Like, tell us who you are, man. Tell us, you're obviously you said you're from South Carolina, correct?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pageland, South Carolina. So if you're a big Gamecock man, you know who Corey Miller is. You know who Justice Cunningham is. Those were kind of the two guys to make it out of Central High School and go on to play at the next level in D1 ball there. And man, I moved to Columbia, graduated with a business degree, and had a hell of a lot of fun while I was in town. And I looked at it when I graduated, man, and I tried to stay there, and I couldn't make any money, because it was either you were in government or you were a student, and I didn't see a lot of opportunities, man, to make it big. And I came from a family where my mom was a single mom making 15 grand a year, man, and I wanted bigger and better things, right? So I moved to Charlotte in '98, chased the NASCAR dream. '99, landed my first job with marketing and PR, kind of in tow. And Citgo Petroleum and Band Aid were my first two accounts, and that was with Michael Waltrip, who went on to win Daytona 500s. Elliott Sadler, that went on to win a lot of races and finish second in the Xfinity Series championship. So, man, I worked with those guys, and then I was fortunate enough to get to be Elliott's business manager, which in our world is like an agent, if you
Right,
will.
right,
And so he and I started a marketing company along with Dale Jarrett, who is a NASCAR Hall of Fame driver, around 2005, and that was called Driver's Choice. And man, it just opened a lot of different doors for me to do a lot of different things. I became a spotter in 2001, kind of by accident. And man, I'm very different, Steven, in the sense of most guys grow up spotting all these races. The first race I ever spotted was a NASCAR Cup Series race, which is at the highest level. It would be like
right.
walking into an NFL game and you get to be the offensive coordinator, and you've never done it before, right? So, right place, right time, right relationship with Elliott. Man, he took me under his wing, and I wouldn't have what I have today or be where I am without him. So, a lot of debt to him. But man, I grew up a NASCAR fan in South Carolina. I went to a lot of races, Lancaster Dirt Track, back when I was 4 years old. And man, I'm one of the guys that made a dream come true because I looked at NASCAR as an awesome sport. And then when I got into it, it was even more awesome than I thought at the time because, Fortune 500 companies were flying into the sport and spending tens of millions of dollars at the time. And I literally hit it, man, at right place, right time.
I mean, that's timing's everything for the most part, right? I
100%,
mean,
man.
that's a hell of a story, dude. I mean, to be honest, I mean, obviously I know who you are. I just didn't know kind of like your backstory and I mean, what brought you to NASCAR? Just, you said you were going it since 4 years old. I mean, you just what draws you to it?
So, man, I was a business major, and I actually focused on retail. And my internship was at Champ Sports at Columbiana Mall. And I worked
Okay.
with a guy named Rusty. And I was like, man, this sucks. I'm working all weekend. I'm working 60 hours a week. Like, I'm not having any fun. When all my buddies are off having fun, I'm at the freaking mall selling tennis shoes and tennis and they called them multiples. If you sold a pair of tennis shoes, you had to sell a pair of socks. And I'm like, what am I
Right.
doing? Like, so man, I was like, there's got to be a bigger, better way. And so I moved to Charlotte, and I got told no for 2 years. I mean, every door I knocked on, every email I sent, it was like, no, we're good, no, we're good. And I finally got a break, thanks to Bobby Hutchins and David Allen, who were connected to Dale Earnhardt back then. And they tied me into a guy named Doug Cox, and he had an opening with the Wood Brothers doing their public relations. And man, I took a pay cut to get in, right? And I wasn't making much money anyway. I think I was making like 30 grand. And I took a pay cut, came in for less than 30 grand just to have the dream job. And I walked
Right.
in, man, writing press releases and scheduling interviews. And I handed out 100,000 Band-Aids my first weekend on the job at Richmond International Raceway, and I got sunburned. I mean, I'm already a red guy anyway. I got burnt to the ground, right? So I was like, yeah, some dream job, dumbass. You're sunburnt, you're overworked, and so man. But listen, as time grew and I made the right relationships, made the right connections, man, life blew up. Right, got to making good money, got to meet a lot of really cool people. It went very fast from being a small town, kid to helicopters and private jets and everything was at your disposal. And my buddies always made fun of me. They were like, man, you're like the poorest rich guy we know, because I wasn't rich, but I'm around all these rich and wealthy dudes, and you're taking a helicopter to a Toby Keith concert and you're flying private jets to the Exumas. Like, man, it happened so fast. But I tell you what, man, I met a guy, Sean King, who was an NFL quarterback. I think that was his name, for the Detroit Lions. And we were on a boat at Lake of the Ozarks. And he said to me, best advice I ever got for what I was going to, kind of endure after the job, big perks. And he was like, don't ever let this job define you, man, because everything around you will go away really fast when the job goes away. And so I mentally started preparing myself, and I started looking at other drivers that when they hung their helmet up, they weren't backstage at all the concerts and they weren't getting all the free perks. Just like when you guys, man, I mean, when you had your cleats on, you were a god, and when you hang them up, life changes and you got to figure out how to adapt. So I was fortunate enough to get that advice from him. And I really appreciate that to this day.
Yeah, I mean that is a hell of a story. I mean, you just kept on trying. I mean, that's kind of the moral of the story. Just kind of keep knocking on doors and just
Don't
eventually
take
something's
no.
gonna stick, right?
Don't take no. And I mean, listen, I didn't go in sweeping the floors, right? But you got to be willing to take some step back to sometimes to get the right opportunity, and that's what happened, man. And it ended up being an opportunity of a lifetime. And like I said, man, Elliot and I are like brothers. We still talk every day. Whenever you come to a race, I'll try to get him to come because he's one of us, man. Just a good old small town guy. He was, from Emporia, Virginia. His dad did own some businesses and have some money, but he doesn't grow up with his head above the clouds like some of these guys do these days.
I see it all the time, man. I mean, you even look at college football now. Some of these NIL deals are just absolutely insane, insane. You want to talk about not be able to survive college? You give me $1 million in college, yeah, I am making it out of there.
But the thing
Yeah,
is,
no,
man, if you had the right people around you, and this is what I hope these athletes realize: A, you don't need an agent. That agent's not getting you anything that you can't get yourself. And if you do have an agent, don't give him 15%, give him 2%.
uh,
And I know there's a
right.
lot of agents that might hear this. They're like, this guy's an asshole. No, I've been on that side of things. And there wasn't many times where I got exponentially more than what was going to already be on the table, right? You want a fair deal, but these guys need to educate themselves and they need to be in a position to where they don't live off of the money now. They are already in school for free. They're eating for free. They're living for free. Like, put all that money aside, and when you come out at 23 years old, man, you may not ever have to work another day in your life if you do it right.
N- No doubt, man. No doubt. You just always got to wonder who's in their ear. Who's
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
You
That's a
could have had
different that's a
just as
that's a
much
different
fun. You could have had
uh
just as much fun in 2008 off of $50,000 as you could
no
off of a
question.
million bucks. You know what I mean?
No question. No question. Do you make it back to Columbia at all?
Man, I was there this past Friday for the women's game. I went to a bar and watched it, Hickory Tavern, and yeah, I went to Home Team Barbecue for a beer. Then I went to Village Idiot for pizza, and then I went to Hickory Tavern because they got the most TVs. And I
Yep.
sat there at the bar, man, and watched the game. And dude, Columbia kills me though. It's tough on my wallet and my liver.
It's it is so different now than when I was there. It's unbelievable how much has changed.
Well, you were there. There were a few things that you and I had in common. Pavlov's was there when I was there. It was there when you were
Yep.
there. Now it's gone. So, man, yeah, so much has changed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and yes, like Brian from Village, you ask some of these other breweries and bars, and they just said that kids just aren't they're not drinking as much as they did, I guess, when we were in school.
Right.
I mean, I see it all the time. I see it from brewers down here in Tampa. They say the same thing. Like, yeah, people just aren't drinking beer as much as they used to, or drinking in general. They're drinking the THC infused, RTD cans and all that other fluffy bullshit.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds miserable.
Yeah, it's not as fun. That's for sure. You kind of just sit there and melt for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not as energetic. Uh, Is there any more Gamecocks that are in the NASCAR circuit?
Man, there's a lot of Gamecocks. No, big time names. Kerry Tharp, obviously, who came from the South Carolina Athletic Department. He was a president of Darlington Raceway recently. He's retired. Jim Hunter was a big Gamecock. He was a huge influence on a lot of people's lives. But man, you see Gamecocks, throughout the garage all the time. And even when we go to the racetrack, like we did this weekend in Darlington, man, there's way more Gamecock fans there than the other school from the upstate. So South Carolina fans definitely represent in the NASCAR space.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I was just, obviously the women's team was down here in Tampa. I mean, the amount of fans from Carolina compared to UConn, it wasn't even
One
close.
close. Yeah.
It's kind of like the game itself, but yeah, there was. I mean, to your point, there was a lot of Gamecock fans that travel, and they do travel a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty cool.
Does it blow you away how much bigger the men and women are in today's world than even when you played?
It's insane.
I mean, you got to be 6 foot to play anything.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's baffling. I remember I was in Columbia. This was like I think when Pat and I first came up with, or he came up with the idea, and I went over there to kind of like sit down and get pen to paper. And we were at God, I can't remember the name of the bar, but anyways, one of the girl basketball players was there, and the girl was 6'8". I was like, I have got to stay next to you and take a picture with you. This I've never seen a girl this tall,
Yeah.
and she was laughing her ass off, and it was funny, but yeah, I was shocked at how tall.
I was at the national championship in Cleveland, a year ago, and I met Cordoza, and I was literally blown away. I was like, I mean, she's 6'7". She's not big. She's just tall and athletic, and it's like, holy cow! How do you guard a lady this size? With this talent, and then she's got this beautiful smile and a nice handshake, and you're like, man, she's got it all. She's got charm. She's got athletics. Like it's insane how but not only the ladies, like the guys are just huge these days.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel like all the athletes in general, man. I mean, I remember going to spring practice last year, and I was telling Pat, I was like, and Coach Elliott, I'm like, do you see the size of these offensive linemen? These guys are absolute monsters compared to like, I mean, we had some big offensive linemen as well, but I mean, across the board, these guys are huge.
Yeah, but John Strickland, who's a buddy of mine down in Columbia, who played center for a while,
Yeah,
like he's
yeah,
tiny compared to these guys.
oh yeah. And I mean, he'll be the first person to tell you that too.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
nuts.
it is wild. It is shocking, is what it is. But that's kind of the nature of the beast. Everybody's got a personal trainer. Everybody's got a personal dietitian. Everything else. So they're only going to get bigger and faster and better, moving forward.
Yeah.
But what do you think the most intense moment for you in your career has been so far? For like as like during a race.
Yeah, so being a spotter, requires you to stand on the roof, and you've got literally the best seat in the house, and you're essentially like an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator at the same time because you're trying to get them to make moves to push them forward, but you're also trying to tell them information that's going to keep guys behind them, right? So you're playing
Right.
offense, defense at the same time. When we go to a track like Daytona, and it's the Daytona 500, and you're leading the race, man, with under 20 to go, it's really hard, not to do exactly what Michael Roth talked about on your podcast a few weeks ago, like not get in your emotions, because you can feel your heart rate starting to go up because you have the lead and you're giving him, the driver, all the information you can to keep him behind you. So, man, I've been fortunate to win a lot of races with a lot of drivers, from Casey Kane to Greg Biffle to Elliott Sadler to Jeb Burton, Ross Chastain, Clint Boyer, etc. And man, there's nothing more intense than leading the Daytona 500 with less than 20 to go. Like if that doesn't get you on the edge of your seat, man, nothing will. And it's a hard task because everybody behind you is faster than you because of the way the draft works, and you've got to execute all the blocks and do all the right things at the right time. And what you don't want to do is wreck one of your best friends at 200 miles an hour, right? And man, it's hands down the most intense the spotting world ever comes to is when you're racing hard for the Daytona 500 win.
I'll tell you what, I've been to one race in my entire life up to this point, and it was the Daytona 500. My dad chartered a plane, and we went down there from Tampa, and I cannot believe I'm still like my teeth are still chattering at how loud that shit was. I could
Yeah.
not believe like I got put my headphones in. It was still just loud. The ground was shaking. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, next time you come, man, we'll get you hooked up with garage passes and walk you around and show you all the things. And man, the cool thing about our sport now is when I came in, the guy that was a mechanic on the race car was also a tire changer. That's not the case anymore. The tire changer is a D1 athlete, a former NFL guy. Like it's hands down. I mean, these guys are doing pit stops in 10 seconds. They're signing 7-year deals. They're making $200,000-$300,000 contracts. Like the pit crew guys are basically they've lived the life you live. Just when the athletics, part kind of sport part died out, they ended up on a pit crew. But we literally had scouts from NASCAR at the University of South Carolina Pro Day, watching these guys work out. Because if they don't make it as an NFL guy or get drafted, man, NASCAR is a good spot for them to come.
I'll tell you what, I saw South Carolina posted something about that. They had about, a bunch of NFL GMs, coaches, and then it said NASCAR, pit crew chief or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
like, I had no idea. I was like, why the hell? Why is this guy there?
yeah. But a guy like Sean Carson, I mean, you remember him. He was a running back, South
Yeah,
Carolina, hurt
yeah,
his knee,
yeah.
tons of potential. He came in with Lattimore. Man, like this would have been a great avenue for him to come because he's low to the ground, stupid fast. Like it's a perfect spot for D1 athletes.
I'll tell you what, I haven't heard the name Sean Carson in a while, man. I gotta reach out to him.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while either, man. But what a great guy and a big athlete, man. I went and did a talk at one of the sports administration classes, and he was in it, and so I got to say hello to him, and seemed like a cool dude.
Yeah, no, he was cool, man. He was athletic as shit. Yeah, I gotta hit him up, man. Yeah, it's some of these guys, man, like Kenny Miles and some of these other guys that you just don't ever hear from, or I think they're just off social media, so
Yeah,
kind of don't hear from them. But I gotta figure out a way to get in contact with them.
Now a word from our sponsor, Tony Pope at State Farm. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights, we switch the TV channels, and some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony Pope, right here in South Carolina, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony Pope, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call at 843-851-2222 or visit tonypope.com. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We are proud to be sponsored by our buddies David Marshall and Shane Burrows and their law firm Lanier and Burrows. These guys are Gamecocks from undergrad through law school, and they bleed garnet and black. They practice all across South Carolina, helping people and families who have been injured or killed in car accidents, trucking accidents, work accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, basically any type of incident. Unfortunately, though, for Stephen, they don't really handle all that criminal stuff. If you or someone you know was injured, let Shane and David investigate it at no cost to you. They will get you answers and will let you know if they can help. They only get paid if they get you a recovery. Give Lanier and Burrows Law Firm a call at 803-268-9800. Gamecock fans, if you want to look your best, go swing by Granger Owings on Main Street or in the Trenton Plaza. Granger Owings strives to deliver the best-in-class customer service paired with the finest fashion. Their stylists truly cater to each customer, starting with a personalized consultation every time, and help each individual build a wardrobe based on their lifestyle needs, occasions, and preferences. At Granger Owings, you will find the latest from classic, up-and-coming, designer brands of clothing and shoes for men and women. From business attire to custom clothing to sportswear, weekend wear, and formal wear. They dress their customers for every occasion.
I mean, are these drivers that much different personality wise, or was there like a Johnny Manziel, then there was like a Tim Tebow? You know what I'm saying? Like that far of the spectrum.
dude, I worked with Johnny Manziel. His name is Clint Boyer. You'd love Clint. He's on Fox now doing the broadcast. What happened is the driver when I got here was a blue collar guy from a blue collar family who enjoyed working on cars, and his dad enjoyed working on cars, and it's transitioned into the kid that came up with money that had $500,000 to race late models and $1 million to race ARCA and $3 million to race trucks and $6 million now to race Xfinity. So the driver makeup in terms of how he was brought up has changed a lot, but the driver talent today is the best it's ever been because they have, like you were talking about, each athlete has their own nutritionist and trainer. same for these NASCAR guys, man. And they've got
Right.
their own sim work they do. And they just have way more resources to where, like Kyle Larson, he did not come from money, and he is probably the best race car driver in the world at the current. But he races hundreds of races a year, and that was unheard of back in the day, man. Like if you ran 30 cup races and you got to run 10 or 15 bush races at the time, that was a big deal. Now they're running, man, hundreds of races. So they're just so much more in race shape and so much better at their craft. And I didn't view it as a craft when I got here. Like I viewed it as a guy that was just a badass that could get in a race car and go fast.
Right.
But they're getting in these cars going 200 miles an hour. Their heart rate's at 170 the whole time, and man, they compete at an extremely high level. So, but personality wise, man, Clint Boyer. Before that, Tim Richmond. There's been guys that burnt the candle at both ends, but then you also had guys like that Jeff Burton, man, who didn't do anything. All he did was race and live an extremely clean life. And then you had guys in the middle like a Jimmy Johnson who could be a 7-time champion, but also, man, you'd see him in Aspen, Colorado. And first time I ever had tequila with an orange, it was his idea. He's like, man, you don't want that lime with your tequila, you want an orange. And so you slam a tequila and chasing it with an orange. Like there's guys that could live in the middle too, man. So yeah, we've had our share of party animals. Right now, it's hard because there's too many cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if they're
I
gonna
was just about to say that.
if they're gonna go anywhere and do anything, they got to get on an island or on a boat. Like it's you get too much shit for just having fun.
I see it all the time. I mean, my buddy Ethan Petrie, who's a baseball player for South Carolina right now, I forgot. I think they might have got swept or they lost a series to some SEC team. And he's out with his buddies drinking a beer, and somebody took a picture like he's drinking beer after, a loss and that. And I'm like, who the cares?
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
The kid's a 21-year-old kid in college. Like, what do you want him to do? You want him to go after they lose? You want him to go sit at the dugout and just cry and bitch and moan? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. People always have something to say on social media, and I know you and I are both not afraid to let it ride.
Yeah, so speaking of letting it ride and speaking of losing, I want to hear about these pool parties after big wins, man. When you were in college,
Mm. Man, I'm married now. I don't even have my ring on, but yeah, I'm married now and happily married. So I'm gonna try to. I'll call you after this and tell you
all
more
right,
about
sounds
that.
good. So there's two things I heard that have been kind of like the urban legend of Steven Garcia. One was the pool parties after wins, and the other one was, and I was at this game, man. I was standing on the sideline. I've actually got a picture of me holding Sir Big Spur. I was in Atlanta for the game that you allegedly had too much fun like 2 nights before the game. And a coach saw some folks walking out of your room and like busted your ass and made you get up and run till you threw up the next morning. Like, is that somewhat true?
That is accurate. It wasn't 2 nights. Everybody thinks it was the night before. 2 nights. It was the very first night
Very
we were
first
in
night.
Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And full circle, bring it back to Cliff. Cliff's the damn reason we got caught in the first place.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. He went to go get ice for the drinks and
They
was kind
saw
of
him in the
stumbling
hall.
around. They
Yeah.
saw him and then followed him back, and that was the end of that night.
That part of the story
Unfortunately,
got left out. It was all put on you, of course, right?
of course, it is what it is, man. I've been dealing with that forever, so I don't really give a shit.
This is that, but see, like that's what makes you great to everybody in my era because you could play the game, you could have the fun, and you still had the work ethic and do all the things. I think the only qualm me and my buddies had with you was the same qualm Spurrier had, and it was when you go on big runs, you drop your head and damn near kill yourself at the end of them.
Oh yeah, no, he probably would still get mad at me about doing that, but we actually had Lenore's on. It was after I forgot which game it was after, but he was like sliding. And I'm like, dude, you are 6'3", 245, 250. Why the are you sliding? I literally asked him just point blank like that. And he sat there and he looked and he's like, that's a good question. I don't know. So then the next week they played Texas A&M and M, and he's on the sideline and just bulldozes that guy.
Yeah.
And kind of the rest of the season went after that. So I like to think that I kind of gave him a little spark. I might ask him for a little referral for that 2.7 he just made.
Big money, man. Can you imagine?
Oh no, I tell my parents all the time, and they were like, "Yeah, you'd probably be in a ditch somewhere if you had that kind of money in college."
Oh,
Which, which they're probably right, man. I mean, you give me that kind of money at 21 years old, you ain't gonna be able to tell me shit.
Yeah.
So it's a
He was
tough deal,
actually,
man.
we went to the Tennessee series the other week, and he was sitting in the stands. And I literally told my little guy, he's 12, Bodie, and I'm like, man, it's a good look for this guy to be making the kind of money he's making, be the starting quarterback at the University of South Carolina, and to be sitting here watching us play Tennessee in baseball. Like it says a lot to his character.
Dude, he is as polished of a kid, like off the field, as I've been around. That's what I do. I train quarterbacks, and how he carries himself, and you don't ever hear one person, even if they don't like him, you don't ever have somebody say anything bad about him.
Right, right.
So I
That's
mean,
awesome.
he's definitely carrying the torch extremely well. So I'm looking forward to what he does this coming year. I think he's due for a hell of a year again.
He's got to have a
But
wide receiver though, man. Like looking at what you had
that's
around you, like he doesn't have that talent. Somebody will
somebody's
step
got to
up.
emerge. Somebody's
Yeah,
got to. They always will.
yeah,
Especially you got Coach Beamer in there. He's getting everybody fired up. So I mean, I think we'll be all right.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's funny, kind of talking about football is forgot who was asking me. I'm training this guy in his Auburn. So he's like, yeah, South Carolina playing in a spring game. I'm like, as far as I know, I mean, I only played in one in 5 years of being there, so maybe they're not. Who knows? Well, he said Auburn is not playing a spring game because they're afraid of guys playing well, having it on film, and then entering the portal.
Wow.
And I was like, man, I mean, I could make that makes sense. And Coach Beamer had a presser yesterday, and he said basically the same thing. He's like, why would we open up, the practices to the media to where you guys can talk great about a certain kid? Next thing you know, he wants his tape, and the next thing you know, he's out of here. He's like, when the NCAA mandates that practice should be open, I'll do it. But until then, no. The transfer portal I'm not a fan of it. I don't. What's your opinion on that?
Man, I hate the transfer portal because it's like unrestricted free agency twice a year.
That's
And I
right.
don't think it's fair to the university. I don't think it's fair to the team. I don't think it's fair to the coaches. Like I think that if you're going to get 2.6 million a year, even if you're going to get anything, there should be some commitment on your side, right? And you should have to not be able to just walk out. I mean, look at what Juice Wells did to us, man. That's embarrassing. He sits there, he gets paid, he doesn't play, he leaves and goes to Ole Miss, he gets paid again, and I mean, I hate to knock the guy because he's not here to defend himself. I get it. You made a bunch of money to sit around and watch, TV, and all you had to do was fulfill your off the field obligations to still get paid. But we have to make it where there's a commitment. And people, even this
Right.
weekend, said to me when I was talking to them about it in South Carolina, well, the coaches can do whatever they want. No, they can't. They have a buyout. There is a financial
Yep.
penalty when they exit. Do I think it's cool for a coach to leave when he's just signed his freshman class and to leave him high and dry? No, but that the other university that's getting him has to, backfill what that money looks like. So I don't think
Right.
the player should be able to just walk anytime. I don't think that's fair.
No, I don't agree with it either. I think there should be some sort of a pay to play type standard. You having the kid at the quarterback that's going to Michigan hasn't played a snap of college football, paying him
Right,
$13 million. Like what the are we doing?
right, right.
If
Yeah,
that and that's and I got in this argument, I'm like, if I'm the starting quarterback in Michigan and I have this freshman kid that's never played a snap, never been on campus, he's getting, I mean, I don't who know what the starter's getting paid, but this guy's making $13 million. I'm gonna have an issue with that. I think that's gonna cause some sort of dissension amongst, not only the QB room, but amongst the entire team and the coaching staff. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know what your thought process on that.
man, I don't see how it works long term, and I don't know how it's sustainable.
I I don't know. And I know Pat was telling us about something. There's like it's a $20 million revenue share system that
Cap,
they're going to be
yeah,
doing.
twenty
Cap,
point
yeah.
five, yeah,
But that's who's from stopping a billionaire that's an LSU graduate from saying, "Oh, here's 20 million by myself. Here, I'll give it to somebody who I want to give it to."
yeah.
I
Nothing's
don't
going
think
to stop it.
it's yeah, it's the wild, wild west. And let's be honest, man, there's been pay for play for a long, long time. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily broken, but I don't know. Now we're in this giant pickle with really no light at the end of the tunnel. So I don't know what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, same here, man. I just hope it doesn't destroy college football and college sports because of all the sports in America right now. And obviously, I've been involved in NASCAR for 25 years. I've seen us ride our highest high. We've took dips. We're actually, in my opinion, on the way back up. but I don't want it to make college sports decline simply because of the money. That'll be a bad thing.
I hate to say it, but I feel like it's kind of already happening. I got a buddy who's a big Miami booster, and after Cam Ward set out in the second half, he's like, "Kid, I'm done." He's like, they will never get another cent from me." He's like,
Yeah.
"I'm just tired of seeing it. I'm tired of paying these guys." And they just, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done playing for the second half."
Yeah. It's hard to watch,
So
man. I mean, it's hard to watch.
yeah, well,
Most season is completely. We should
oh, it is.
have, and I mean, nobody's going to like me saying this, but we should have the college football playoff, and that's it. These bowl games are a joke. The portal's open. Guys are sitting. They're sitting the second half. I mean, and I don't blame Nick for sitting the second half. You know what I mean? Like, what do you got to gain? I mean, who cares if you beat, the University of Illinois or whoever we were even playing? Like, I don't know, man. I hate bowl season, and I used to love it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you the same way. The thing is, I feel like a lot of these agents are getting in these kids' heads, like, "Hey, play the first half, second half, you're done, don't play."
Right.
I got a couple buddies that are college coaches, and they say the same thing, really in uniform. They're like, "If you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's part of God's plan, and that's just what it is." So, you know, I don't know. I've always my personality is if I'm putting a helmet on and I put cleats on, I'm playing. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit what the score is. Like we're gonna give it hell.
And in our world, man, drivers who race not to wreck the most because
100%.
they're trying to stay out of the way and stay out of harm's way, and they're not, as you said, giving it their all. And man, that's the guys who wreck more than anybody else.
Yep. Yep. What do you see the difference in? I mean, spotting from how long have you been doing spotting? You said 2001. Was that
2001
your
was
first?
my first year on the roof. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference over the last 2 decades
Man,
that
I
you've
was
noticed?
fortunate, and this is kind of a knock on me, right? But Eddie Wood, who is one of the Wood brothers and one of the owners, they just want to race. He told me when I got here, man, in 1999, he said, "We hand the dumbest motherfucker on the roof a headset and we tell him to go spot." And so in 2001, when they asked me to spot, I was like, man, this is kind of an insult, isn't it? But I got up there, man. And back then, the guys who were spotters were driving motorhomes. They were shop guys. They were pilots. So they were literally, that was their secondary job. And I came in as Elliot's business manager in 2001 and then a spotter on the side. So I was no different, but I was the youngest guy up there. And I was fortunate enough to have relationships with some of the drivers to change how the position was done because it was a position of you got to be up here per NASCAR. Tell them if anybody's inside of them or outside of them so they don't wreck. And then we developed some things and some tools and some outlooks of, hey, if you're telling me something I don't know, you're helping me, right? So we changed the way the spotting game worked in around the early 2000s, and we were told per NASCAR, don't be a competition device, be a safety device. Well, NASCAR doesn't pay the spotters; the teams pay the spotters, and the teams and drivers and folks like myself figured out a way for us to be a competition aid versus just a safety aid. So, man, I was a part of it changing, and now listen, there's a spotter on the roof making $200,000 a year just to spot the Cup Series, and that's all he does to feed his family. He didn't have to do anything else. My first year, I made $12,000 in 2001. So
That's
I'm
a
I'm
that's a pretty big
happy,
change.
dude. Huge change. So I'm very happy though to be a part of the progression of a spotter becoming a real part of the team and an important part of the team.
I mean, that's pretty badass. I mean, that's my next question was going to be like, what is something that, a normal fan, like I'm not a huge NASCAR guy, but somebody that's like myself, I'm trying to figure out how to like word this thing. What's something that we would not know ordinarily that a spotter does? And I feel like you've kind of answered that already, but
Yeah, no.
just
So
in
man,
layman terms.
yeah, you play a few parts, right? You play cheerleader because you're trying to pep them up when they're down. You play Dr. Phil when they're losing their mind and they're going down a rabbit hole or they're thinking the world's going to end. Because what people don't realize, man, is the driver, is he on a team? Yes, but he's sitting in a car by himself with his helmet on. And he's only hearing two people talk: the crew chief who's trying to make the car go faster, and the spotter that's trying to get him out of trouble, keep him out of trouble, and get him further along in the field, right? So you're a competition device, you're a cheerleader, you're a psychologist. You have to play a lot of different roles to really be good as a spotter. And I'll tell you this, man, you're going to hear a person on the radio when you come hang out with us this year. and they're bitching nonstop. They're never happy. The car's too loose. The car's too tight. It won't turn. It ain't running fast enough down the straightaways. The driver is never happy. Like it is very rare they key up the radio and go, "Hey man, this car's driving great. Don't do anything." They're constantly bitching. So you've got to keep their head on straight as part of the game.
So they're a little bit of prima donnas, you could say.
You can listen, they're more prima donna in today's world than they've ever been. Yes,
I
100%.
I can only imagine, because I mean, you see it in every other aspect of life. So I can only imagine what it's like in the NASCAR situation. Those guys get their ass chewed out every now and then, or no?
Yeah, so I will say this, man. Guys like Chris Gapehart, that's at Joe Gibbs Racing. There are guys like Chris Rice at Colleague Racing. There are guys who will chew these drivers' ass, and listen, they need it. They deserve it a lot of times. So I'm here for it, man. When I get to sit in the room these days or hear it on a Zoom call, I kind of laugh under my breath at it, because I'm like, yeah, you're making $4 or $5 million a year, but you deserve this ass chewing you're about to get. You know? Yeah.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Tell you what, folks, download the Underdog app. It's legal in South Carolina. Use the code Tailgate547, and they'll give you a up to $1,000 bonus cash and a free pick'em. So, I mean, what the hell's the matter? Go ahead and lock it in.
Listen up, Gamecock Nation. Meet your new favorite streamer, Deputy Smitty. A former police officer and diehard South Carolina Gamecock fan, Deputy Smitty brings action-packed content to life every night on Twitch starting at 9:30 p.m. Connect with him on social media by searching Deputy Smitty and join his growing community on Discord at discord.gg/Deputy Smitty. So grab a drink and catch the thrills, laughs, and plenty of Gamecock pride in every stream.
What's up, Gamecock fans? When you're getting ready to cheer on the Garnet and Black, get fired up with White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey out of Hollow Creek Distillery. With only 3 all-natural ingredients and 1/3 less sugar than other similar brands, is sure to be a touchdown at your next tailgate. Ask for White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey at your favorite spirits provider, and be sure to visit their award-winning Hollow Creek Distillery over in Leesville, South Carolina. Go Gamecocks.
Well, I want to do a transition a little bit, because I know you're doing the podcast as well, right? You still running that?
So no, man, I stepped back from the podcast into last year. It's kind of
okay.
like a marriage. Yeah, it's kind of like a marriage, right? You have a great run, and then you realize you don't want to be together anymore, and that's kind of what happened. So after 9 years, man, I stepped back, and big adjustment for me, honestly. And this word never really got out, but me and Carson Hocevar were very close to doing another podcast. We were going to do it literally the Monday after Daytona. I was driving to his house, and he called me and said, "Hey, man, we're not going to be able to record." And I don't really know whatever happened with that, but for whatever reason, we didn't do it. And honestly, it's been a blessing, man, because I got 3 kids and they're busy on the weekends, and I'm able to enjoy what they're doing versus sitting around waiting on the next race to start.
I mean, I can tell you this much. Obviously, as you know, you did it for 9 years. The podcast world is a hell of a lot more time consuming than than I anticipated.
Yeah. So for us, like when I was watching every race and getting paid to spot it, it was easy because I was not having to invest my time into watching the races. But when I stopped spotting full time a couple of years ago, and this year I'm doing like 8 to 10 races with Austin Hill and Jesse Love, perfect schedule for me. But man, I was having to invest 8-10 hours a weekend watching the races to be able to talk about them on a Monday, to make 20 grand a year. And it's like, man, this isn't worth it anymore. So,
Right.
but listen, man, what I miss most about doing it is the fans, because the interaction on social media and the interaction at the racetrack because of something I'd said, it was super fun. But listen, I got in trouble a lot too for what I said.
I, I,
I could go into more detail, but like this year I had to do something to get my credential for the year just because of something I said last year, right? Because you hurt people's feelings when you're giving your opinion. And I'm not
yep.
as sensitive like some of these idiots are. I don't care what you say about me on social media or say about me on a podcast, but some of these people can't take it and they crumble.
It's hilarious. It is it's baffling. Like, how sensitive, like how soft are you? Should be embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed.
Well, and that's one of the many reasons my podcasting, full-time career came to an end is if I can't say what I think, I'm not going to do it. And unfortunately,
Right.
there are people in our sport that are worth tens of millions of dollars that their panties get in a wad, and it is what it is.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of like fan interaction, what's like some of the wildest interaction you've gotten?
Dude, so you think college is fun? A NASCAR infield is literally a fraternity party every single night. So when you go to Talladega, you go to Michigan, you go to Texas, man, it's on. I mean, there's stripper poles in the infield, there's keg stands. It's a never ending party. And I mean, I've had buddies of mine, I'll even call him out. Casey Kane's brother, Kale. We were partying one night in Talladega, and the next morning we couldn't find my buddy Big John. He was in a porta john, passed out of all places.
Oh
And Kale
God.
Kane, Casey Kane's brother, had fallen after gambling all night in the infield playing cards. He had fallen into some bushes and passed out. We couldn't find him. So we're literally on golf carts riding around trying to find these guys. And back then, man, we would practice on Friday, and all we did on Saturday was qualify. So the drivers would have to go out and run one lap. Well, that's not hard, even at 180 miles an hour. Like, they can do that with their eyes closed. So Friday nights, man, we could have a lot of fun. But man, I say this all the time. The NASCAR fan base, you and I could go right now and carry, a case of beer and a handle of vodka and party our balls off. And then when we come back, if nobody had been to our campsite, the case of beer and handle of vodka would still be sitting there. It's an honest fan base that just wants to go have fun. And there's the party inside, and then there's the one who takes their kids' side. And man, it's the best of all worlds.
And they're still able to kind of mingle around it and not be a
Oh
complete
yeah.
disaster then, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and the drivers aren't there, man, like they used to be, because practice is gone. We run one 25-minute practice, like that's nothing. Like, we've got to get back to making the fans have more to do with the drivers and with the teams, man. We're too condensed of a weekend right now. When COVID hit, it all shrunk, and it's got to
Right.
expand back out, and we're not there yet. But when you come, man, I'll take you around. It's a good time.
Do you foresee it kind of getting back to where it was pre-COVID?
I think it has to, because we don't give. Here's the thing about our sport that's different than every other sport. If we're going to have a lot of fans in attendance, we have to have a lot of campers in the campground. And you can't make it make financial sense to bring a camper from 400 miles away if you're only going to be there one night. We've got to get
Right.
back to where you're there Thursday to Monday and give those guys a reason to be there. It'll put butts in the seats, and it'll give the fans something to do.
Right. I mean, it only makes sense, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
I
don't
mean,
have to
it's
be a
it's
rocket
completely
science for that.
different. It's completely different than college football, where you open the parking lots at 9 a.m. and you play at 3, and everybody leaves that night. Man, fans don't do that. And the local market is where college football fans live. I mean, they're coming from a 200-mile radius. If we're
Right.
limiting it to that in the NASCAR world, we're screwing our fans.
I mean, that's yeah, that 100% sounds like that. Do you ever do anything with cornbread?
No,
No,
no.
he's
What's
never.
that?
He's
Uh-uh.
cornbread cow. You know who the hell
Oh yeah, I
cornbread
know who it
cowboy
is.
is?
Yeah, yeah. But I know we haven't done anything with him.
Oh shit. Yeah, I know he was talking about doing stuff with the NASCAR circuit. I didn't know if you had
Yeah,
ran into him or not.
I haven't. Somebody might have, but I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's a wild man if you've ever talked with
Okay,
him before.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll
He'll
have to get hooked up with him.
yeah, no, he's one of us, but I don't know. We'll talk about that off the
Yeah.
air too.
All right.
Don't want to piss him off too bad.
Yeah, sounds good. Bring him with you when you come.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, he's actually up there in Columbia. He's living there now. But what's so I mean, kind of getting back into the thick of it. What is one rule? Would the kind of the fan interaction, would that be one of the rules you'd want to change the most out of the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the drivers are the best they've ever been. I truly believe that. I had some conversations this weekend with some of the NASCAR officials, and they tell me it's not just as easy as pressing a magic button and adding horsepower. But I'd love to see 1,000 horsepower in these cars, or 900 horsepower like we used to have. It's something the fans are asking for, but it's something that I'm told is not as easy as I think it is. Right. So, and then again, man, just fan interaction. I grew up in the time where, me and Dale Jarrett and Elliott Sadler would go to Baby Boomers at Pocono, and we'd go out and have a beer on Thursday night. And man, that's just not a thing anymore because of camera phones and because of the way it is. I
Right,
mean, Elliott was dating a playmate, Daleen Curtis, back in probably like 2003. And they did the same thing to him they did to you. They said, oh, yeah, the night before the race, Elliott Sadler's at Ghost Bar in Las Vegas. No, we weren't. We were at Ghost Bar on Thursday night, not Saturday
right,
night. And so then
right,
M&M's is calling, going, "What the fuck are you guys doing out night before a race?" And it's like, We weren't out the night before a race. We were in bed the night before the race, right? So, but we got to get those guys to where they can be back out. But here's what we're missing the most, and I don't know how you fix this. We had sponsors like UPS. They'll drive the truck, or sponsors like Domino's with Denny Hamlin commercial. That makes those guys more famous, and famous is a good thing in our world. So, but they got to be able to be out in public and have fun.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I just don't know if that's ever going to get back to that.
I don't know how
You
we make culture accept it, because that's the problem. Is culture MFs you for doing it, and that shouldn't
right,
be the case. Yeah.
right. No, it's unfortunate, man. I just always wonder if there's a light at the end of the tunnel to where it'll ever get back, to kind of pre-COVID operation. I hope, man. I'm hopeful.
Me too, man. But listen, if you're Chase Elliott and you're the most popular driver and you're sponsored by Hooters and you're afraid to go to Hooters on a Saturday night, we got problems. And that's
Yeah,
essentially where we are. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, so he's afraid to go to Hooters on a Saturday night, you're saying?
He's probably afraid to go anywhere, anytime. I mean, he's a shy guy. He doesn't want a lot of attention. He's the most popular driver, A, because he's a hell of a driver. B, his dad was famous, Bill Elliott. He won multiple, most popular driver awards. But man, we just need that guy to be able to be out in public in his souvenir trailer, signing autographs or shaking hands, man. Like that's where it's at for our fan base. We're different than football. You can't get inside the huddle in the NFL ever. You can get inside of our huddle. That's part of what makes us great.
Right, right. No, I think it'd be cool as shit to do that, man. I'm definitely gonna holler at you and try to coordinate something. That'd be a hell of an experience. 'Cause I've
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, we come down your way, man. Obviously, Homestead's already passed. Great racetrack, few hours from you, and in Daytona, a couple hours from you. We come back in August, so Atlanta's not too far for you. So, man, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, yeah, we will for sure. Have you this is what I wanted to ask you. Is there any current drivers that kind of have the kind of like the Dale Jr. Kind of attitude, kind of persona, like what I'm saying, kind of like a bad boy kind of guy?
Yeah, I still think Kyle Busch is probably our biggest guy that can be a villain and be a nice guy at the same time, and kind of rock the seesaw there, man. But everybody asks me all the time, like, who would you pick to be your favorite driver if you weren't in the sport? Tyler Reddick, man, I think he's a really cool dude, great race car driver. Justin Haley, a really cool guy. But man, when you look at the more famous, it's no different in any other business where 20% of the guys do 80% of the business.
Right,
And I'll
right,
say that like in the souvenir space. So in our world, 7 or 8 guys are selling 80% of the merch. And of those guys, Kyle Larson is probably the most popular, even though he doesn't win most popular driver, but he's not a big personality. Neither is Chase Elliott. Like when you look at a Kyle Busch, he's a big personality. Again, he can be a villain and a good guy all at the same time.
it's probably a good combination at B though.
Yeah, yeah. Kyle's made a lot of money, won a lot of races, and man, his little boy Brexton is a hell of a wheel man coming up. So, and that's the cool part too, is like when you look at generational talent, we have it with the same last name. Where in football, it's hard to come up and be Troy Aikman 2.0 or whatever. Like in our world, man, you can be Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott, and then whoever Chase Elliott's son is coming, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Why? Just because they're just so involved in it, and it's just, I mean, why do you think that is?
I think it's two things. A, they've got the capital to be able to race. Because here's the thing, man. If you and I want to go play basketball, we need a pair of shoes and a basketball. If we want
Right,
to race, we got to have money, dude. We got to have a trailer to put the car in. We got to have a truck to pull the trailer. We got to have the money to buy the car, money to buy the engine. Then we got to buy tires nonstop, and we got to continuously remake our engine, right? So you can't do this. You cannot race without money. Somebody has to fund it. And so for a race car driver's son like Keelan Harvick right now, his dad's Kevin Harvick.
right,
Kevin made hundreds of millions of dollars doing this, and I'm sure he knew what to set aside for Keelan. Keelan races all over the world, so like you're not going to be able to compete with Keelan at 10 years old or 12 years old or 14 years old if you just started racing, because he started at
right.
5 years old. So it's just completely different than other sports.
Yeah. No, I mean that that makes sense. It is a very pricey sport.
Yes, very pricey. Yeah,
Jesus, yeah. I mean, again, that's something that I wouldn't have even thought about until you mentioned it. Obviously I know that it's expensive, but buying tires nonstop and having to redo engines. I mean, yeah, that's just stuff you don't ever, think
yeah.
about when you're not really into it, or not necessarily
Here's
into
what's
it, but
cool
just know
about
enough
it.
about it.
Yeah, you and I could show up right now if we had $2 million. We could show up right now and go run a Truck Series schedule with a driver. Hell, we could probably even get you to drive it because they're approving all kind of guys these days. Um, but like that's the cool thing is it's free enterprise. You can come and you can compete, but you got to have money.
So you're saying if it's a $2 million entry fee, and I could go out there and I can go out there and rip it around.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to run some other races to say, hey, I'm worth it. I'm okay. I'm not going to be in your way. I'm not going to go out here and cause wrecks. But if you had
Right.
$2 million right now, you could 100% show up and run the full Truck Series schedule. 25
That's freaking
races.
wild. That's
Yeah,
freaking nuts. That's pretty
yeah,
cool though. Again, shit, I had no idea. I had no idea about that. That's wild. What's your thoughts? I mean, NASCAR's kind of doing like the international deal, right? And like I guess street races too.
yeah. So they're doing street races, which I'm a fan of. They're doing a lot of road courses, maybe one or two too many for my liking. But the international market is important to the growth of the sport. We're going to Mexico City this year with a Cup Series, which we've never done. We've been down there before with some of our lower series, and man, the fans in Mexico City are amazing. It's one of the coolest fan experiences I've been able to see and be a part of. Obviously, Mexico City can be a little bit sketch, so you got to be aware of where you're at and who you're with at all times. But
For
I
sure.
foresee us going overseas in the near future. I would like to see ideally one points race international and then one exhibition international. And I would like to see the exhibition be, Brazil or even China, like Saudi Arabia, wherever, because there's a lot of places that want us. I think Australia would be an amazing market for us too. So
That'd be
it's
cool.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing we're doing international business right now at a high level.
For sure. There's no doubt about it. All right, Brett. So I would just kind of give me like what is a day to day as a spotter? What like how long you were a spotter for how long?
Man, I spotted from 2001 until like 2022, basically
Okay.
full time. Yeah, and so man, in 2001, my biggest thing I did was brief with the driver before the race, which Elliot and I did on airplanes, and then we would obviously go through the weekend. And I stayed in his motorhome every single weekend. Man, he had a pull-out couch in the front, he had his bedroom in the back, and he and I lived together on the weekend. So you are constantly talking about what do you need from me? And I'm telling him what I'm seeing. And then after the race, we immediately jumped on an airplane and we flew home together. And so you got to debrief, right? So I was
Right.
very fortunate and it helped me become a good spotter because I had a driver teaching me, here's what I need from you to be a better driver versus not having a relationship with them. So now in today's world, Stephen, man, it's a lot different because they have something called SMT, and it's where they have a live look at data and they can see how much gas the driver's using, how much brake, how much steering angle. Literally everything about the car is now public knowledge. So imagine having your IP as a quarterback, intellectual property as a quarterback,
Right.
broadcasted all over the world. If this is what makes Garcia so great, that's what these drivers have now. Kyle Busch really doesn't have any secrets. Denny Hamlin doesn't have any secrets. So I think it's a lot different. But spotters are now studying that data during the week. And they're studying it live during the race in real time. They've all got their iPads up under caution to be able to see where their driver's getting beat and why they're getting beat, and they're translating that information into the cockpit. So, man, it's insane
In real time, you're saying?
in real time, man. The
Yeah.
technology is crazy, and what I hate about it is there are no secrets because whatever makes you great is public knowledge. What I like
Right.
about it is we can all see it, right? So it's kind of a double edged sword.
Right. No doubt about it. Have you seen those the things that look like bras that the athletes are wearing now? That it's called like
Yeah,
catapult.
yeah.
I ran a
First,
camp with go ahead.
well, the first time I saw him, I was at a practice with Dawn Staley, and she had them on the girls, and I didn't know what they were. And I mean, it's telling them in real time how fast they're running, their heart rate. Like the data
Yep.
is insane.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I ran a camp in University of Delaware this past summer. My buddy's the OC over there, and I'm looking around and I take my son out there and I see these guys wearing the little bra things. I'm like, dude, what is that? He's like, hold on, let me show you. So we go to the little nutritionist. She pulls up the iPad. She's like, all right, you see number 15 right there, Jake? These are all of his measurements. This is exactly what he's doing. This is heart rate, everything else. I'm like, that is wild.
Yeah,
Absolutely wild.
yeah.
Uh, and now they got like the rings that they can measure your sleep, measure how, what kind of sleep you've gotten. It's it's crazy, man. There's no more secrets. They're all Big Brother's always looking at you.
No, but man, it makes the recruiting so much easier because it takes so much of the guesswork out.
Right.
Like you can see the guy's work ethic in real time. I mean, Dawn literally stopped practice. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this. And she chewed their asses for their heart rates being too high. She's like, y'all are out of shape. You need to get your asses in the gym. You need to be running more. And I'm sitting there going, it's insane that she's got this in real time to know. And she calls out the girls that are in great shape and the girls that aren't. Like
Oh yeah.
it's as a coach, what a great tool, man. And we've got all the same technology for the car and the driver. Same thing.
It is. It is wild though. As a player, I don't know if I'd appreciate it that much. Damn, Garcia, what time you go sleep?
Yeah, I was at a practice one time where I saw Clowney leave because they were getting ready to do a hard drill, and he's like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." I was like, "I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to do that drill either." You know what I mean? That shit ain't permitted anymore.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it. That's funny as shit. Have you ever had like a wild disagreement with the driver? One of your drivers, like just almost like come to
Yeah,
blows?
yeah. Me and Kyle Busch got into a pretty heavy one time at Kentucky, and I hope he's forgiven me, but I don't know that he has.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, and then he wrecked Elliott Sadler on purpose one time at Bristol, and that pissed me off. So, I mean, here's the hard part about our sport is there are 40 spotters standing in a line. And so when something happens and we get mad at each other, we can physically get to each other. It's not like we have to run all the way across the field or whatever, right? Run from home plate to the dugout or home plate to the pitcher's mound. Like we're all close to each other. So when spotters get mad at each other, I mean, I saw people flipping each other off this weekend at Darlington, and I was laughing about it because I didn't have a dog in the fight. But we all are a traveling circus, man. Like we just pick up the fence and we move it the next week to the next spot. And the two drivers that are mad at each other, if they qualify beside each other, they have to get in the back of a pickup truck and ride around waving at the crowd. Meanwhile, they want to punch each other in the throat, right? So, man, our sport doesn't give a lot of distance when there's disagreement. But yeah, me and Kyle, we had a little bit of a problem. But man, I love Kyle Busch. I think he's great for the sport, and hopefully, like I said, he's forgiven me by now.
Jeez, how many years ago was that?
Dude, long time ago, probably 10, 12 years ago. He and I hadn't really spoke a lot since. So I texted him the other
Holy
day when
shit.
his wife put out some pretty funny stuff on social media. And I don't know. I thought it was funny, and I texted him, and he didn't text me back, or maybe he's changed his number. Maybe I got the wrong number.
Oh God, that sucks. Life's too short, man. I tell people all the time, life's too short to hold grudges and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But what would you say is your biggest pet peeve on a racetrack?
Oh man, on the racetrack is honestly non-competitive cars and drivers, meaning they're too slow, becoming part of the storyline, which means they're wrecking or they're doing something stupid on pit road to be in the way. Like you have to know your role, and those guys aren't there to race. And I hate to say that, but you've got teams that are spending 15, 18 million dollars a year to go out and race and compete for wins, and you hate to see teams that are underspending to make a profit to be out there. And dude, it happens, but
I can
it's no
imagine.
different. It's no different in football, man. If you got the Dallas Cowboys budget, and then you had what used to be, the Cleveland Brown budget. Like it's hard for the
Right.
Browns to compete with the Cowboys. Well, in our world, man, it's the same thing. But I hate for when the slow car and the driver that's probably not deserving to even be out there to be a part of the storyline drives me bonkers. And everybody that follows me on social media knows it. Everybody that's ever listened to me on the podcast knows it. And it is what it is, man. It's just still part of it.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, honestly. I mean, if you're not going to be competitive, then get the fuck out of the way.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, yeah. Go back to the
I tell,
garage. Go home.
I
Go to
tell,
the
I
beach.
tell you what, man, I feel every single time I drive up to Columbia, I'm the same damn way. I'm riding somebody's ass like, get over. I'm over on the thing. Get your ass over. You're in the fast lane.
Yeah, that's
It's
me.
it's it drives me crazy. I was like, I had 7 hours of this damn drive. I got to get the hell out of here. That's funny as shit. What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't spotting over the last 2 decades?
So, man, I wanted to be a backup dancer for like Janet Jackson, and I know that
That's
sounds far fetched.
you're full of shit.
I swear to God, man, I'm not full of shit. So when I
That
was
is
at Columbia,
hysterical.
we had a club called the Naked Iguana. And now it's like CWP. It's like a country bar. But the Naked Iguana, man, like we went every Thursday night. We had dance offs, and I won most of them. And man, that's when I could do a back tuck and all that shit. But like I wanted to be a backup dancer, and I did some cool shit dancing. And we opened for TLC back in the day at Carowinds. But man, thank God that didn't work out because I think that would have been a short-lived, shitty career. And fortunately, man, I live on a lake, and I just bought a beach house, and life's pretty good here. So
Dude,
I'm
that's
glad I didn't make it
unreal.
as a dancer.
That is absolutely hysterical. I was
Yeah.
not expecting that answer.
Yeah, I never said Chippendale. I just said a backup dancer, like hip hop dancer.
Oh my God. A business degree from Columbia and you backup dancer. That's funny as shit, dude.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, it would have been
unbelievable.
fun.
You still dance at all or no?
Dude, I danced the other night because my daughter had a charity function and they started playing hip hop and they all got in a big circle and nobody was in the circle dancing, like just like a bunch of damn white people, right? They all standing around
Right.
looking at each other and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my fat ass in this circle. And I came out of the circle after about a 15-second stint because I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. And Jovi's friends all ran over to me and they were like, dude, I'm impressed. I had no idea you could do that. And I was like, yeah, I can't for long, but back in the day I could. So yeah, I say all the time, because when music comes on, my friends are always like, hey man, get out there, get out there. And I'm like, no, I'm retired. But I'd had enough bourbon in me the other night. I got out there. So it was fun.
A little liquid courage. That
Yeah,
definitely helps.
I did a few New Kids on the Block moves and a few MC Hammer moves and just the old school stuff these kids today have never even seen, you know?
No. Well, I mean, nobody dances anymore. All they do is listen to the freaking auto-tuned bullshit. My son, oh my God, that's a whole different conversation. But I'll have like my little turtle box out there when we're doing the quarterback training stuff, and I'll play, like DMX or some other like old school rap guys, and they're like, play NBA YoungBoy or play Rich Homies, whatever. I'm like, go yourself. How about that? So then I'll put on like Toby Keith or some just country music or something. I was like, I'm not listening anymore. Your rap suggestions.
Yeah, I
It's
officially know I'm old because I can't even understand the words anymore.
oh God, it's hard. It's
And
it's
I mean,
hard to
I grew
live.
up listening to a ton of rap, like, and I mean, when I was in college, I can't even remember the name of the group, the Young Bones and Thugs and Harmony or whatever their name
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Like, they
yeah.
rapped stupid fast, and I could understand it all. Now I'm like, I can't even understand what these people are saying. I'm out.
It's all mumble rap, man, as they call it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, getting back to it, man. Who would you say is your? Because you've been around it for freaking ever. Who is your Mount Rushmore of NASCAR?
man, that's funny you asked that because I saw some different sports figures doing it the other day, and you got to put Richard Petty up there. I mean, he's a seven-time champion, which means you automatically got to put uh, Jimmy Johnson up there, another seven-time champion. And Jimmy did it in a much harder era, and he did it in a lot of different formats in which the ways you had to win the championship. Obviously, Dale Earnhardt, he accelerated the sport's popularity, because he
Yep.
was a polarizing figure. And then I think that fourth guy is very debatable. I think you could go with a Jeff Gordon. You could go with, even if you today's world, if you wanted a Joey Logano. But man, I would put David Pearson in there because he's a South Carolina native. I'm a South Carolina native, and he won a ton of races and did a lot of really cool things in his career. But if you're looking at the whole world of motorsports, you'd have to put a Mario Andretti up there and AJ Foyt
Right.
up there. I mean, those are just guys that did it all in all forms of motorsports. But in the NASCAR space, man, that'd be my four.
I'll tell you what, man. This it just reminded me of something. I just watched what was it, Ferrari versus Ford or Ford versus
Yeah,
Ferrari movie?
awesome movie.
That
Yeah,
was a great damn movie.
yeah,
I don't know, not
awesome
that it
movie.
has any relevance to this conversation, but I figured you would have seen that and enjoyed
Yeah.
it, I guess.
Yeah,
Man,
most
that's
motorsports fans, man, enjoy all motorsports, regardless of what it is. So, yeah, that is a great movie. The only thing that screws you up is I think they claim they were at one racetrack, and only people who really are diehard fans would notice this. They claim they were at, like, say Fontana, and they were really at Michigan. So
uh
as a motorsports guy, I'm like, why are you lying about what racetrack we're at? And that may not be the exact scenario, but it was something in there that's the only thing wrong with the whole movie, literally.
what about Talladega Nights? That's got to be up there on the top 10 movie for you, right?
Dude, so when it came out, a lot of people were upset because they were making fun of what we do. And so I didn't watch it for the longest time because I was hearing all these opinions on it's great, it's not. And so when I finally got on an airplane and watched it, I thought it was funny as
So
I
did
thought it
I.
was hilarious.
Well, you were talking about being a spotter and kind of full circle this thing. You were talking about being a spotter, you got to be a coach, you got to be a therapist. The John Coffey, I can't the guy's dead now. The spotter that was for Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But every time I watch the movie, that's ever since you said, I was like, that's he was a coach, he was a therapist, he was
Yeah.
all of this shit, man. And then you got Ricky Bobby, who's just a freaking head case.
Yeah, dude, when he was on fire and running around in his underwear, like that's one of the funniest movie scenes. Next to probably when all the pubic hairs went flying out of the window onto the wedding cake in that other movie, Wedding American Pie or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
there's just certain scenes that are funny as hell to me, and like that was just a funny scene.
Oh man, that was unbelievable. So speaking of like, I don't know, what's the most humiliating thing that's happened to you?
Dude, there's actually uh, a framed picture on my wall where Michael Phelps in 2008, which was the height of you, and you were a badass, right? Um, I was on ESPN. I was in ESPN the magazine, and there was some information that I didn't give to Elliott Sadler early in the race at Darlington, my home freaking track of all places. And Tony
Uh,
Stewart wrecked us. And Tony Stewart got out of the car, after the race and on the radio, just motherfucking Elliott up and down. It was my fault we wrecked. There was another wreck we got in at Bristol that was 100% my fault with Brendan going with Elliott. Man, I didn't sleep for 3 days. Like, that's the hardest thing about our sport that people don't understand is if you throw an interception in the first quarter, you got the rest of the game to redeem yourself. If you wreck a
right.
race car, if you as a spotter say something wrong and wreck a race car, dude, you dug your grave for a week. You don't, and you may get fired, because it's your fault you wrecked. So, man, it's so hard to leave a racetrack knowing that it was your fault. And unfortunately, when you do hundreds of races or thousands of races like I have, I mean, I can probably count on one hand, definitely no more than two, how many people I wrecked. And dude, it's hard to sleep at night.
So what would the percentage be that what would a spotter, why would it be his fault compared to the actual driver?
So I'll give you an example. Michael Waltrip, Busch Series race at Richmond. I told him a car was inside. What I didn't tell him was there were two cars inside. So he was three wide and he didn't know he was three wide. He thought he was two wide. So his entry into the corner was completely different. He would have been higher had he known there were two cars in there. Well, when the third car crammed it in there, I didn't have time to tell him. And so he got wrecked. And so after the race, he called me. He said, "Was I three wide or two wide?" And I said, "You were three wide. And it's my fault I didn't tell you you were three wide." So when you don't give them precise information, because they're playing in a game of inches in terms of where they want to put
Oh
their
yeah.
race cars, and you've got to tell them because now you've got to change it by 9 feet on where you want to put your race car. And there may be shit, there may be debris up there may be trash up there that makes you where you can't enter as fast. So there's just when you miss that information to relay it to your driver, man, it makes for a long crappy week because then you got to go get to the airport, get on an airplane with 30 people, and they're all looking at you knowing you wrecked their race car.
That'd
Yeah,
be a
it
lonely
sucks.
feeling.
Dude, it sucks. You're like, I want to drive home from California. I don't want to get on this airplane because you got pit crew guys, you got crew guys, you got PR marketing people, you got management, and ultimately you got the driver. And they're all looking at you going, "Hey, Brett, what's up?" And you're like, "Yeah, I wrecked this today. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, go have a
Yeah.
good day." Like, it sucks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I mean, it's probably no different than, throwing a couple picks in a game and, everybody's like, "Man, what the hell? You cost us the game." Huh? All right, well, okay, well, it's over now. I don't know what do you want me to do?
Same thing. Absolute same thing. Yeah.
Who do you think talks the most shit on the radio that you've been around?
Yeah, dude, and that varies generation to generation. Greg Biffle, he used to crack me up, dude, and I was fortunate enough to get the spot for him some and even win with him in the Kleenex car back in the day. But in today's world, man, um, I
That's what I
would
was going to
say
ask you.
Ryan. Yeah, I
Is
would
it
say
different
Ryan
now than it
Blaney.
was?
Yeah, for sure, it is, and I think Ryan Blaney is probably the biggest shit talker on the radio. Like he loses his mind, and I absolutely am here for it because that's the cool part is we can't hear everything you're saying in a huddle. We can hear everything these drivers are saying over the radio because it's broadcasted all over the world. So
Right.
if you're a fan in the stands, you got on a scanner listening. If you're a fan at home, you got an app open, and when he calls somebody a complete idiot or whatever, you can hear everything going down. So that's the awesome part about our sport.
And that's mid driving, right? I mean, he's
Oh, dude, he's 190 miles an hour out there just raising hell and cussing this guy's mama out. Like, yeah, 100%.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Holy shit. What is all right, last question for you though, man. What's your go-to post game, whether it be a celebratory drink or, a drown your sorrows drink? What you got?
It was Crown and Ginger for a long time, and now it's Tito's and water, man, with a slice of orange. So
Slice of
if
orange.
I've had a long day, man, Tito's and water, slice of orange, double tall, and for some reason there ain't a waitress in America that can get it right the first time. They either put soda in it or they put a lime on it. Like Tito's vodka, ice cubes, water, and an orange. It should not be that hard.
Oh man, that's hysterical, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Order it on your next airplane ride and wait and tell me what the flight attendant looks at you like. They look at you like, you want vodka and water? Do you want ice? It's like, no, I want hot vodka and no water.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dumbass, I want ice. Like, yeah, try it.
I'll tell you what, man. My wife is Russian, so her dad came over like, I don't know, we've been dating for almost 5 years now. He came over about 4 years ago, and
Yeah.
I just got a handle of Tito's, a handle of it, not a big one. He's Russian. He likes vodka. He's like, let's do a shot of vodka. Shot of vodka. I said, all right, sure. He said, we're gonna finish this whole thing. We finished the entire handle of vodka, piss warm, doing shots. And I consider myself a pretty good drinker. I mean, he drove home. He drove home that night. He calls me the next morning. He's like, Steven, how's your head feel? I was like, it feels like shit, man. Like, how the hell did we just do that? Why did we do that? More importantly.
That's insane. Hot vodka? That sounds miserable.
Yeah. So yeah, ever since then, I was like, I can't do hot vodka. I can't. I honestly haven't really drank vodka since then. I'm more of a tequila guy, tequila and bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love that. My favorite tequila right now is the blue and white Clase Azul. I think it's a Repo.
Yeah.
Pour it on ice, man. That is money.
The one with the ding on it.
Yeah. The dingers. Yeah, the dinger on top.
Those will, as soon as you hit one of those, you know it's going to be a good day. That's for sure.
Yeah, damn, the price on that's already doubled. I can't wait to see what these tariffs do to that. So that should be. I might be drinking cheap tequila from now on.
Little Jose Cuervo. But man, I'll tell you what, we didn't get too political, so it's.
Yeah, we did good.
Yeah, I think we did all right, man. I do appreciate you hopping on here, man. I really do, and I got your number now. We'll link up and try to coordinate a plan to meet up, link up, and crush some more on vodka.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate what you guys are doing with the podcast. It's fun, and y'all have had some great personalities on, man. It's cool to see you and Pat having fun, and y'all are Gamecock legends in a lot of our minds. So we appreciate you guys taking the time to do it because, like you said, it's way harder than people think.
It's very time consuming, and trying to get the sponsors and kind of just streamlining all things. And Pat's a very type A guy. He wants to be organized, and I'm not organized at all.
When I was talking to Clifford, I was like, man, give me some good stuff to ask Steven about. He's like, dude, he don't remember shit. He don't remember nothing that happened. You ain't gonna be able to ask him anything. So that was pretty funny.
No, I remember a lot. I just like to play stupid and act like I don't remember. It's a lot easier that way. It is a lot easier to say, yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, cheers, and let's catch up soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. I'll talk to you a little later.
Sounds good, man.